actually by nature the living entity he's free. I mean, he's originally the spirit soul, okay, spirit. But when he comes in contact with the material thing only, he gets all these contamination, lust, anger, greed, everything he gets, and he acts in all the sinful activities that we saw, and he's forced to act like that.
So why, like, first of all, why is he forced? What basically, first of all, yeah, the first question being what lust really is.
Yeah.
So can you explain on that? What lust really is?
Yes. Correct. But when he comes in contact with the material thing only, he gets all these contamination, lust, anger, greed, everything he gets, and he acts in all the sinful activities that we saw, and he's forced to act like that.
So why, like, first of all, why is he forced?
Mataji, actually, what Krishna says here is, I mean, because of lust only, it's which is born in contact with the mode of passion, and later it is transformed into wrath, which is all. So you're asking what is lust, first of all.
Yes,
Okay.
that is the basic question of what is lust. Because in general, in material terms, if someone hears about lust or karma, the first thing that comes into their mind is sensual desires, right? But when we are hearing it through Krishna in just chapter 3, the basic thing to understand what lust really is that lust is any desire that we have for sense gratification, which is apart from Krishna, which is taking us away from Krishna. Any desire. And like Kavita Mataji very nicely mentioned, that these are very subtle. You don't even come to know, unless you are in the association of devotees, you don't even come to know that, okay, this particular desire I am having, this is basically lust only. This should be termed as lust, although I do not have the knowledge. Therefore, I don't think that this is lust or this is a desire away from Krishna. So there are hundreds of desires, right? There are so many. Even very small desire of, let's say, Mataji mentioned that even a small desire of appreciation, right? That I should be appreciated for what I'm doing. That small desire is also lust. So to understand this whole section, first of all, we have to understand what really lust is, what Krishna is referring to as lust. So this is the basic principle to understand. And then comes the whole knowledge of it, that why these desires are coming. They are coming because we are engaging with the modes of passion and ignorance. Then Krishna gives the technicality of mind intelligence, like sense objects, in mind intelligence and false ego, how all these layers are there which are making us have all those kinds of desires, right? So and then Krishna tells what is more prominent. So the soul is the most prominent in comparison to all the other things, the senses, sense objects, mind intelligence, right? So we have to understand that we have the power. We can actually control all of these things. But the problem is because we have, like Krishna mentions in that verse, right, that we are covered. Our consciousness is covered, just like fire is covered with the smoke. The womb is covered, the embryo is covered by the womb. In that way, our consciousness is so covered by the material modes that we don't understand our capability, right? We are the part and parcel of the supreme. So if Krishna is Sachidanand, the infinitesimal soul is also having that qualities. We also have that same power. So when we realize this power of soul, then we do not come under the trap of mind intelligence and senses and sense objects, right? So we will quickly first cover today 3.43, and then we will have a short quiz. And before that, because I was busy with the YouTube live streaming, we'll first offer prayers to our acharyas, beg for their mercy, and then we'll start. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadameham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shriyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। So this whole chapter, if you would have seen, this is where the tattva knowledge, the technical knowledge begins in Bhagavad Gita. Till now, like even in second chapter there is, but it is because Krishna is giving so many details of Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, so many details Krishna is giving. He's just giving a gist of all the different types of yoga, right? And the details of how the self-realized person is. So, but from third chapter, we really directly come to know from Krishna how practically we have to practice Krishna consciousness. Right. So now actually the work of intelligence begins in Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 onwards. Because till now you were like, okay, we are getting the knowledge of the soul, we are getting this knowledge, that knowledge. But what I have to do, that comes from chapter 3. And therefore, it is also very important that when we are reading chapter 3, when we are trying to understand, we should try to also analyze it properly, ask questions, and understand it thoroughly. Because if we just read it as a newspaper, then it will not make any change in our lives. We will just have some theoretical knowledge. That too, we will forget in some point of time. But if we try to actually practice this in our life, then comes the change. So, and then you will also have some doubts. It is said we should hear Bhagavad Gita just like Arjun. We see Arjun is asking questions every now and then in Bhagavad Gita, right? If we are not having questions, means we are not hearing it like him. Because if we actually try to understand, and why we are not able to hear like him, because he was in an urgency. He understood his position to be very, what we can say, very distressed. He could understand that he is not in a situation to make any decision whether he should fight or whether he should leave everything, what he should do, right? He was totally miserable. And he could understand the urgency of getting this instruction from Krishna. Therefore, he was hearing with a great eagerness. But what happens, like with me, what will happen? Because I am not understanding the urgency of Krishna consciousness, because I am not able to see my situation in a miserable condition of life. Therefore, we understand, we take this knowledge as an add-on, we say, as an additional thing in our life. But we don't take it as the whole and soul of our life. So therefore, it's very important to hear Bhagavad Gita as Arjun did. So we will, I'll share my screen now and we will check 3.43. Please let me know if you're able to see my screen. Is it visible to everyone? Okay. Yes. So
It's not visible.
yes, it's
No,
loading
Mata,
actually.
there's nothing seen.
Yes, it's loading. So by the time, if anyone would like to go to 3.43, if they have their Bhagavad Gitas with them, um, they can
Yes,
start
Mataji.
reciting the verse.
Yes, Mataji.
Even
Hare
you're
Krishna.
reciting.
Evam buddhihi param bhutva samsaviyatanam atmana yasastram mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. Evam, thus, buddhihi of intelligence, param superior, buddhava, no so knowing, samspraya, by studying, atmanam, the mind, by deliberate intelligence, that he conquers Satram, the enemy, Mahabaho, O mighty armed one, Kamarupam, the form of lust, Durasadam, formidable. Translation and purport by Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to material self, mind and intelligence, one should control the lower self by the higher self, and thus by spiritual strength, and conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust.
Thank you, Mataji.
Mataji,
So
shall we
what
continue with the
yeah, I'll let you know,
purport?
Mataji. I will let you know, Mataji.
Thank you.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Mataji. So basically what Krishna is saying that first of all, he is using the word Mahabaho to refer to Arjuna. And why is he using this word Mahabaho? This means, oh, mighty armed one. And why that this particular adjective is used to address Arjuna is because here Krishna is talking about that how you are able, because you are transcendental to these material senses, mind, and intelligence, you should basically you should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, and thus you can conquer in this insatiable enemy known as lust. So to conquer an enemy, you should be mighty armed, right? Then only you would be able to conquer the enemy. This way, the enemy here is the senses, mind, intelligence, which are actually causing bewilderment to a soul. And Krishna is saying that because you are a soul, you are transcendental to all of them. And therefore, by spiritual strength, you would be able to conquer this enemy called as lust. So, when this particular section started, if you remember, when this section started, this was the first question that Arjun asked. That even if we know, we are still like, even if we know that, okay, this is going to cause me a harm, I'm still able to not resist it, right? For example, people see easily that, okay, it's written directly in the cigarette packet that you will get lung cancer, you will get mouth cancer, but still they are smoking. Similarly, for all the other things also, when we know in general materialistic life also, we know that family life is a bondage. No, who doesn't know? Everyone know that family life is a bondage, but still everyone is considering me and mine. Me and mine has been the whole basis of family life, and we are giving all our energy there, right? And we are also thinking that, okay, this thing happened to that person, this will not happen with me, right? Why we are still thinking that? Because of this lust which is covering our consciousness. We are not able to distinguish that this is the nature of material world. No one is left, no one is left with the reactions to it. So but although all of these things are known, we are why we are not able to do? Because of lust. But Krishna tells that once we are able to understand our transcendental position, the sambandha abhidaya prayojan, the sambandh is basically the identification. So identification comes from what? Identification comes from knowledge. When we understand through Bhagavad Gita, through Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, we understand this knowledge that I am the eternal soul. I'm the part and parcel of Krishna, and my eternal position is to be the servant of Krishna. Then when this particular position is understood properly, and then we are trying to do the abhidaya, which is the process which is engaging our senses only to please Krishna, then the goal, Krishna prem, is achieved, right? The prayojan of Krishna prem is achieved. So sambandh abhidaya prayojan is very simple, but the whole thing is that we should be sincere in doing that. We can read through the purport, Mataji.
May I read, Mataji?
I guess Kripa Mai Mataji was
Okay, Mataji. Okay. Okay, Mataji. This third chapter of Bhagavad Gita is conclusively directive to Krishna consciousness by knowing oneself as the eternal survivor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without considering impersonal voidness as the ultimate end. In the material existence of life, one is certainly influenced by propensities for lust and desire for dominating the resources of the material nature. Desire for overloading and sense gratification are the greatest needs of the conditioned soul. But by the strength of Krishna consciousness, one can control the material senses, the mind, and the intelligence. One may not give up work and prescribed duties all of a sudden, but by gradually developing Krishna consciousness, one can be situated in the transcendental position without being influenced by the material senses and the mind by steady intelligence directed toward one's pure identity.
Yes,
This
just
is
a
a
minute,
sum
Mataji.
total of this chapter.
Just a minute, Mataji. So what Prabhupada
Was
is
Mataji.
trying to explain it to us. He mentioned that the desire for overloading and for sense gratification is the greatest enemy of the conditioned soul. So overloading, we understood it in the previous verse, right? In one of the previous verse, wherein Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam, right? Sorry, not Bhoktaram, in which where Krishna is saying that Karta ham iti manyate. One who is foolish, he's thinking that I am doing everything, right? So that is desire for overloading. And for sense gratification means we are only thinking of how all my senses can enjoy in various ways. But because this is the greatest enemy, only by strength of Krishna consciousness, one can control the material senses, the mind, and intelligence. So we have to, just by analyzing this one statement, we can see the biggest strength of Krishna consciousness is partaking of prasadam, Krishna prasadam. How Srila Prabhupada used to say, when we are partaking prasadam, what happens is basically the layer of mind, intelligence, and false ego is covering our whole body, right? It is covering all places of our body. Now, what happens is when we are eating Krishna prasadam, that Krishna prasadam, because it is going in the blood, it is creating the purification of all our senses. Then all our senses, all our body, mind, and intelligence, all these layers get purified just by partaking prasadam. It helps so much that many people, just by taking prasadam, they became devotees. They did not understand philosophy. They were so much into material sense enjoyment, they could not understand any other thing. But because they took prasadam, they could easily become devotees very, very soon. In fact, they became very nice, good devotees. They continued Krishna consciousness all their life. They did not fall apart in between. So this is one aspect of the strength of Krishna consciousness. All the other aspects of Krishna consciousness are also very powerful. Also very powerful, as in they are equally powerful. Because whatever we are doing, any service, in fact, it is said that if we are just clapping our hands in kirtan, all our karmic reactions that are basically written in the palms, right? All these lines, all of them changed. All of them will change. Krishna will change everything. So we don't know how our life can be changed just by practicing Krishna consciousness. Even very simple acts of just clapping in kirtan, appreciating devotees, eating prasadam, offering it to deities, all these things, very small, small, simple things in Krishna consciousness. But the strength is so much that they can even conquer these insatiable material senses, mind, and intelligence. So when we have come into Krishna consciousness, we should understand the importance of it. Yes, Mataji, you can and yes, one more thing, that one may not give up the work and prescribed duties all of a sudden. We saw in one of the previous verses, right? Krishna is telling that a learned man will not disturb the mind of a person who is too attached to sense gratification, right? So all of a sudden, no one can give up everything. But by gradually developing Krishna consciousness, we become situated in a transcendental position without being influenced by material senses and mind. And this very easily you would be able to see if someone is sincere in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and just by sincerely chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, these subtle things become very easily known to you. Like initially, when we come to Krishna consciousness, if someone says that, okay, this mind is causing this issue, the intelligence is causing that problem, the mind is basically going behind the senses are going behind the sense objects, the intelligence is discriminating whether I should be enjoying this way or that way, it becomes very difficult to understand this technically, right? But if you are chanting sincerely, all these subtleties of spiritual life, they become easily revealed to us. So eating prasadam, chanting, hearing, these are the very basic and the most powerful tools of Krishna consciousness. Yes, Mataji, you can please continue from here.
Yes, Mataji. This is the sum total of this chapter. In the immature stage of material existence, philosophical speculations and artificial attempts to be sorry, Mataji. Artificial attempts to control the senses by the so-called practice of yogic procedures can never help a person towards spiritual life. He must be trained in Krishna conscious life, higher intelligence. Thus ends the Bhakti
Yes.
Vedanta purpose of the third chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of your karma yoga or the discharge of one's prescribed duty in Krishna consciousness.
Yes, thank
Thank
you,
you,
Mataji.
Mataji. Dandavana.
So, one question to all of you. We have previously discussed that yoga means to connect with the Supreme, right? Yoga means that we are connecting with the Supreme. Now, the general yoga, which is considered nowadays, is the yogic postures, the asanas, right? Now, if someone is only into Ashtanga yoga and he's thinking that, okay, this is the only way I can achieve perfection. But how is it possible? Can you tell me? How is it possible to attain the Supreme just by following the Ashtanga yoga? Or is it not possible?
Mataji, by concentration,
Sorry, Mataji, I'm
concentration.
not able to hear you.
No, Mataji, by concentration of the mind.
Voice is breaking.
Voice is breaking actually. So
Okay, Mataji.
basically, what Prabhupada is trying to say here in this particular section is that only by this yogic postures, it can never help a man towards spiritual life. They generally claim that when you are actually following Ashtanga yoga, you are also controlling your mind and the senses. But the whole point is that it should be directed towards a supreme. The impersonalist do not think there is a person, right? They think that they are surrendering to Brahman. But what happens is, based on that particular existential knowledge, you are not able to fully surrender in the right possible way, and therefore you are not able to attain Krishna. You might attain to Brahman, but then from that also you have to come back, right? So therefore, Prabhupada is saying here, this particular, in the immature stage of material existence, philosophical speculation and artificial attempts to control the senses by so-called practice of yogic postures can never help a man towards spiritual life. He must be trained in Krishna consciousness by higher intelligence. How, when we are getting training in Krishna consciousness, we understand how the mind works, how subtle is the mind, how it is dragging us so easily towards sense gratification, we don't even come to know. When we are trying to chant, the mind will take us in all over the world. We cannot even imagine, right? Not even in dreams we would go to so many places, but the mind is taking at the time of chanting. So why we are initially we are not able to catch the mind, but regularly, sincerely chanting and hearing from senior devotees, hearing from reading japa affirmations, reading from Srila Prabhupada disciples, we understand that this mind is the one who is causing the most problem while chanting. But how we are able to then control it? By using higher intelligence. What is the higher intelligence? They will give us some instructions that, okay, you should only hear, speak and hear. You should not let your mind, whenever your mind goes somewhere, you just catch it back and come back, right? You should not just start dwelling in those thoughts. If the mind is telling you, okay, you have 10 tasks to do now, at the first thought only, you should be thinking like, no, 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 all these things later. The first thing is chanting. So there are so many things, there are so many subtleties in spiritual life, but those cannot only be known through the performance of yogic postures, right? The intelligence has to be trained up properly in Krishna consciousness. And it can easily be trained. Why? Because that is our nature. Let's say if the nature of a fish is to swim, and if you tell that fish to live on the land, it's so difficult for that fish, right? Similarly, our nature is spiritual. So all this knowledge is by default for us. It is like the fish in the water. So because of the conditioning of the material nature, we may feel like that it's so difficult, it's so technical, I won't be able to do it, I won't be able to understand or perform it. But when we understand that this is my original nature, whatever I'm doing is unnatural, the natural position is to perform Krishna conscious activities, then it becomes very easy. Okay, so anyone has any questions on the last section? Sense objects, senses, mind, intelligence, false ego, how the soul is transcendental to all of them. Is it all clear?
Mataji, the definition of lust, please tell Mataji again.
The definition of lust is, Mataji, that any desire that we have apart from for the pleasure of Krishna,
Krishna
like
consciousness.
whatever desire I'm having that is not in line with Krishna consciousness, that is lust. Because let's say if I think that, oh, I'm very tired, I want to sleep. But why do I want to sleep? Let's say if I want to just take rest for some time, not for hours and hours, but if I just want to take some rest so that I can get up and do my Krishna conscious services nicely, then that particular desire is not lust. But if I just want to enjoy sleeping, if I don't want to get up, if I just want to relax, it is giving me some enjoyment, then that particular desire is lust. So any small and big desire which is not in line with pleasure of Krishna, very simple. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So Rishikesha is Krishna. Rishik is basically the senses, right? With this senses, if I want to serve Krishna, then it is devotional activity, right? But if that is not done, if I do not want to serve the senses of Krishna, then it is all lust. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. So are we all ready for the quiz? I see very less people today. Is there any other thing as of now going on? Like any other class or something like that? Garud Puran was initially planned, I guess, at this time, but now it happens earlier, I guess. Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yes. Okay, so let's go quickly with the quiz. If all of you are ready, then we can start the quiz. Can I hear a big Hari bol?
Hari
Or
bol.
Hari bol. Hari bol.
Hari bol.
Thank you. Also, the other devotees who are not
Hari
on video,
bol.
if you can come on video, it would be easy for me to see whether you want to raise your hands or if you want to give the answer. Okay. Okay, so let's start. Would be easy, not that difficult. First question, how many classes of men are there who realize the self? Very initially we covered, very initial classes.
Mataji, it's all from 3rd chapter, right?
Yes, Mataji. No out of scope questions. All questions are from 3rd chapter.
2 Mataji.
2 Mataji.
Okay, who are the 2? I guess Sudha Mataji said first, right?
Myself Mataji. Hare Krishna pranams.
Okay, Shri Shampriya Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Which 2 are the types of people?
One class, I'll just try. One is by empirical philosophical speculation, and others who realize by devotional service.
Okay, so so any person who is on the other parts apart from other yoga ladders, what we can say, different yogis, Sakam Karma Yogi, Nishkam Karma Yogi, Ashtanga Yogi, so many other yogis. Are they on the bhakti path or are they on the mental speculation path?
Mental speculation.
Yes, good, Mataji. So, answer is right that there are 2 types of men. It's from 3.3. Some are inclined to understanding this through philosophical speculation and empirical knowledge, and others through devotional service. So, these are the broadly 2 categories of people who are trying to realize the self. Can anyone be not doing any karma even for a moment?
No Mataji.
No, Mataji.
I want to hear from all. So what about when you are sleeping? Are you doing some karma while sleeping?
The soul is there, no Mataji, the character of the soul. Consciousness.
The soul is there. Characteristic of the soul is consciousness. That is fine, which means that the body is living. It's not dead even at the time of sleeping. That is fine. But I'm asking whether you are doing any karma at the time of sleeping. Because the question is what? Can anyone be not doing any karma even for a moment? And you all mentioned that no, it cannot happen. So I'm asking a counter
Hare
question.
Krishna, Mataji. We are in dreams, I think so.
No one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment.
If we are doing, something mind this thing is working.
Mm-hmm. Yes, all of you are correct that even while sleeping, our subconscious mind is active. We are having dreams, and also, like, if we are not, whatever activities that we have done in the day, that is what is going in the background of when we are sleeping. So we are not basically sleeping in transcendental consciousness. We are still in material consciousness, and the soul cannot be idle even for a moment, right? So there is some or the other desire, some or the other things always happening. And therefore, from 3.5, we can understand that it can never happen that no one, someone is not doing any karma even for a moment. The next question. If we know that work causes bondage, then better we won't do anything. Is it correct?
No, Mataji. It is not
No, Mataji.
possible also.
Oh, Mataji.
Saurabh Prabhuji, could you be a bit louder?
Mataji, I'm audible actually.
Yes, yes. You are audible, Prabhuji, but probably.
Now, sound is okay. Very sure.
Yes, Prabhuji, you
Yeah,
can.
yeah. Yeah, Mataji, like we have to do work, like because we cannot give away the work, and whatever we do, we get the results also, like fruits of that work also. So we have to
So, but
always.
when you come to know that, okay, work is causing bondage, whatever work you are doing, that is causing you bondage. So, how will you try to get rid of the reactions?
We give all the whatever work we do for like for Lord Krishna, then we can be away
Yes,
from
perfect.
this bondage.
Right.
Yeah.
We can dovetail our work to towards Krishna.
Yes, all our whatever activities that we are doing, if you are dovetailing that towards the pleasure of Krishna, as rightly mentioned by both of you, then that work will not cause any bondage. So there is no need to stop work. This is what Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna when Arjuna is saying that better I should leave all of these things and I should go to the forest, right? Just like a Brahmin. So Krishna is saying no, doing others' duty is wrong. Better you do your own duty imperfectly. That is still better. Because what will happen if you do your own duty without attachment to result, it will not cause bondage, right? It is done for the pleasure of Krishna. Okay, next question. If someone renounces work by restraining his senses, but his mind dwells on the sense objects, what is he called? He has renounced his... Mhm.
Pretender,
Pretender, pretender.
pretender.
Yes, the pretender. This is a very important verse. Many times people have this doubt of how can someone on the spiritual path be so dwelled up by the sense objects and all, right? So this is because of this reason that although externally he might have renounced his work and he would be controlling his senses very strictly, but his mind is dwelling on the sense objects. So therefore, he is called a mithyachari, a pretender. Nice. Next question. The result of any sacrifice is first enjoyed by whom?
By Vishnu.
Krishna. Okay. How do we understand this? Like, where is it mentioned?
It is mentioned in verse 9, Mataji.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So this is how we should be learning. Thanks, Mataji. 3.9, 10, all those verses where it comes like we have to offer our results to Vishnu as sacrifice. In those verses, it is mentioned properly that the result of any sacrifice is first enjoyed by Lord Vishnu. So now I have a question to all of you. Let's say there are different types of sacrifices, right? Even there are pujas for some demigods, demigoddesses, right? Now, if someone is doing any other yagya, not a yagya for Vishnu, how is still Lord Vishnu, how is Lord Vishnu being first satisfied through that yagya? Or can we say that yagya is only for the satisfaction of that demigod or demigoddesses? It's not for Vishnu. What is the right
Lord Vishnu
understanding?
is the demigod. Lord Vishnu is the Lord for all the demigods also, Mataji.
Mhm.
If anything offered sacrifice to the demigods, it is eventually reaches Lord Vishnu.
Yes, right, Mataji. Any yagya that we are doing, even for other demigods, any puja is done, even for some other personality rather than Vishnu, it still first is taken by Vishnu only. And then Vishnu gives his prasad to the demigod or the demigoddess. With that, the demigod or demigoddess is pleased, and then they give their prasadam to us as a result of whatever is our desire. So any sacrifice, whether you know it or whether you don't know it, it is only for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Even the demigod or demigoddess will not give you result if Lord Vishnu is not satisfied, right? So, and the highest yagya that is given for Kali Yuga, what is that?
Sankirtana.
Sankirtana yajna.
Sankirtan, yes, chanting of the holy names. If we are chanting the holy names, that is much, much, much bigger than doing any other type of sacrifice, right? Even though that sacrifice is mentioned in different Puranas, Upanishads, or anywhere, but the chanting of the holy names will take precedence because we are right now in Kali Yuga. If we would have been in any other yuga, that yuga dharma would have taken precedence. Okay, so if someone might say that even Lord Ram, even to get Lord Ram as son, Lord Dashrath Maharaj did yagya. There were so many yagyas performed, right? Parikshit Maharaj, um, so many different, Yudhishthir Maharaj, so many different personalities have done yagya, right? As per the scriptures. Then why do you say that Sankirtan yagya is the highest? So we will tell them that because they all were part of previous yugas. In different yugas, there is a different yuga dharma. But because we are we are in Kali Yuga as of now, Kali Yuga's yuga dharma is chanting of the holy name. So that will take precedence over all the other sacrifices. Okay. Now, next question. Why should one work in a way to satisfy Vishnu or Krishna? What will he get? If someone is, let's say, I'll just give you a hint because I have not given any options here. If someone is having material desires, someone might have spiritual desires, whatever he might be having. But why it is still beneficial for him to work in a way to satisfy Vishnu or Krishna?
Hare Krishna. Mataji, if we know Vishnu and Krishna, then we know that we'll go to Krishna Dham and all. And if we worship demigods, then definitely we are satisfying our senses for different material worlds, needs and all. Like whatever we want to. But Krishna is the only where we are not, want to enjoy material world. So that's why, like, whatever, if we know that we have to worship Krishna, then we know that these material requirements, basically, we have to get rid of that.
So are you saying, Prabhuji, that all our requirements would be fulfilled just by worshipping Vishnu or Krishna?
Mataji, we will not, basically, our desires will change, like,
Yes.
will not be, so that is the
Yes,
reason.
right, Prabhuji. From third chapter perspective, if we try to understand this question's answer, it is, we have seen that, right? That in this from 3.9 to 12, in fact in 3.15 also, it is mentioned that cycle of sacrifice, right? So what is mentioned there, that at the beginning of creation, Lord Vishnu sent forth, right? What did he send forth? All the scriptures and basically the demigods who are here to satisfy our material desires. And by doing this yagya, when we are doing these yagyas, then they are satisfied and then they give us everything that is really needed for us to be materially happy, right? So therefore, if we really want to be happy materially and if we also want to progress spiritually and spiritually towards our ultimate goal, then we should only work in a way to satisfy Vishnu or Krishna, because that is the origin who created this whole cycle of sacrifice, right? Vishnu. Any doubts, anyone, on this particular question?
No, Mataji.
Okay. Okay, moving ahead. If a person is not performing any sacrifice, but all his acts are seemingly moral, can we say he is sinless? I want to see some raised hands rather than just, I just start hearing some yes and no from everywhere, but I don't come to know who gave the answer. So if you can raise hands, even if you don't know, just raise hands and tell me what you are thinking, because I want to know what you have understood. Okay, let me go one by one. I can see Twinkle Aurora Mataji. Mataji, you are there?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, would you like to answer this question? Last one.
Ji Mataji, when there is no sacrifice, so it is not offered to the Lord.
No.
Shri
The last question, Mataji, that if a person is not performing any sacrifice, but
Yes.
he is seemingly acting morally, can we consider him sinless?
No, actually, there are some small insects and present, like ants and everything. Accidentally, they get killed through us, and to get rid of those karma, also we have some yagna or sacrifice to perform. So we cannot say that person is sinless.
Yes, right. Correct. Yes, Mataji, you're absolutely right. Also, as we understood from third chapter, okay, if someone else would like to add some more points to it, okay, I can see Archana Mataji. Are you there? Okay, Veena Mataji. Geeta Mataji.
Mataji, whenever we do something or we are in karma, then we are doing some wrong, like we are doing some sinful act. If we are not doing sacrifice or not taking the name of Lord.
Mm-hmm. How can we understand that, Mataji? How are we
Because
doing it?
any karma, if we are doing, it is sinful.
Mm-hmm.
If we are not acting in for the pleasure of Krishna, it is sinful.
But someone might say, right? Someone might say that, okay, we just have to become a good person. You should do good for others. You should make others, like you should be charitable. You should be respectful. You should be morally correct, right? These are the general conceptions of materialistic people. So they think that if such a person, if a person is like this, then he probably is not sinful. But when we are saying that no, he is still sinful, so you are saying that whatever activity that we do, it is making us sinful. And
Yeah.
how does that happen?
We can be kind to a person, we can be respectful to a person, but what happens in our sense or in our way it is kind, but in another's view it is not kind, might be the reason.
Yes, many aspects are there to this question, and you have also mentioned it properly, Mataji, that uh, like in material life also we see that, okay, if I have a particular perspective, other person would have a different perspective. From his point of view, he's right. From my point of view, I am right. So then who is right, right? So as per the if we understand the how the principle of karma works, we understand that if someone is not doing any activity for Krishna, he is basically performing sin, because he's trying to gratify his own senses, right? If let's say if someone says that, okay, I will give charity, right? If I'll give food to the poor, but then
Yeah.
for what intention that person is giving food to the poor, that only super soul knows. If that person is giving food to the poor just so that he becomes renowned, he gets the fame of, wow, he's such an amazing person, he gives so much in charity. If he wants to get all this fame, then whatever food he gave in charity, that all goes in waste. It's not called a charity.
Yeah.
Right? So similarly, there are so many other actions that we perform in day-to-day life, but the intention of it is only for the concept of I and mine. And therefore, all these activities become sinful. I saw Saurabh Prabhuji also raised hand. Prabhuji, you wanted to
Yeah,
add
Hare
some point?
Krishna. Yeah, Mataji, one thing is that all sacrifices, like whatever we do, like in material world, we all are like in Kali Yuga, all are Shudras. So we do not have that kind of knowledge also to, do some kind of sacrifice and all. So that's why Sri Chaitanya Prabhu has given us this Mahamatra and all. And if anything, we are straining to do some work for happiness of our senses is basically a kind of sacrifice. So he's sinless, Mataji. What I think.
No, I did not understand the last point, Prabhuji.
Mataji, like if somebody is now basically whatever we are doing, to satisfy our senses. So we are restraining for any, to make our senses happy. Like if somebody is not running, like he's not running AC and all, and he's busy with the Krishna Mahamantra at whatever is the, in some temple, if there is some heat also, still he's doing so that it's a kind of sacrifice. So in that sense, it is also a kind of sacrifice to restraining the, happiness for senses for some time or whatever, like eating.
No,
If
what I'm
somebody is
trying to,
telling,
the question was, Prabhuji, like if on the opposite side, like if a person is not performing any spiritual activity, he's not doing any work for satisfaction of Krishna, but he is seemingly moral, he is having good habits, he's a good person, all in all, like in material terms. So can we say that he's sinless?
but in that case, if he is not understanding the Vedas, and also definitely he must be doing some kind of, mistakes or
Mm-hmm. So,
sin we are doing.
so you're saying that if the person is not spiritually inclined, then whatever activity he's doing, he's basically
Might not.
performing sins.
Maybe, yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yes. So all of you are correct, but the next part which comes on this is even when even when we have come into spiritual life, but if we have not understood the principle, and even in spiritual life we might be doing sinful activities. Externally it would be seen as doing Krishna conscious activity, but it could be on the intention level, it would still be on the sense gratification, for the sense gratification, right? So even those things are sinful. So what about talking about a material person, even a devotee? If he has not understood the depths of Krishna consciousness, we are still leading a sinful life. But but the good part is that there are by, let's say, if I'm trying to chant the holy name, so there is agyat sukriti which I would gain. Let's say even if I'm not doing with proper intention, there is no loss in spiritual life. So that will lead us to come to a point, at some point we would be able to understand the depth of Krishna consciousness, we would be able to transform our heart. But till the time we are not doing it properly for Krishna, then that is also basically sinful only, right? The principle is going wrong, but overall the activity will help us to move spiritually upward. Talking on the material terms, if someone is just moral and he is not performing any sacrifice, then definitely he is sinful, because we were discussing, right, for in 3.16, that there are many people who say that you should become a good person. What is the need of spiritual life? But the nature of this world is like you are trying to swim upstream. So if you're not if you're not trying to really swim upstream, by default you would go down. So by default, all people of the world are going to go to hell, right? So only when we try to go spiritually upward, then only we are trying to make our life successful. Otherwise, all of us are by default going to hell. Okay. So next question, we will be a bit fast because I can see only 5 minutes are left and there are many more questions. Without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty. For by working without attachment, one attains what? If you are acting without attachment, what will you become eligible to attain?
Where we can attain the Supreme Mataji.
Yes.
Moksha.
One attains the supreme.
Yes, one attains the supreme.
Supreme.
Right, 3.19. Okay, next question. If there are no duties for a self-realized person, then why does he still perform them? Right? Krishna gave the example of Janak Maharaj, of himself. These are all self-realized people, right? But they're still performing their duty. So why are they still performing their duty?
Set an example.
Will follow them.
Because they
Yes.
will incur sin otherwise if they don't do their duty.
The people in general. For
Yes.
educating the people in general.
So a self-realized, so Shruti Mataji, a self-realized person is not bound by any duties, okay? Because that particular person is by default always doing his duty only, even if seemingly he is not. let's say there was an example, I'll just quickly cover. So there was a Rasik Sant in I guess Ayodhya, and that particular sage was once seemed to be sleeping till 10 o'clock. Now sages do not sleep after sunrise. They maximum is before sunrise, but they are generally up before, during Brahma Muhurat or before Brahma Muhurat itself, right? So one of the sevaks, he saw the Maharaj, and he thought that how come Maharaj is sleeping today so late. So he was thinking on the external terms of that this person is basically like gratifying his senses, right? But later what happened was that another sage in Vrindavan, this particular sage was in Vrindavan, and then there was another sage who came from Ayodhya 3-4 days later, and then he told that this particular Maharaj was in Ayodhya 3 days back, and he met him. And that particular Maharaj, when he was sleeping, basically he was in Ayodhya. He was in the Nitya Leela. So we don't understand the activities of transcendental people, right? So transcendental people are not bound up by doing prescribed duties, because they are directly serving the Lord at all point of time, even during their sleep also. But when we talk about, like, based on our question, uh, they have no duties. The self-realized people have no duties, but why they are still performing them? The answer is to set an example. Saurabh Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, same.
Yes.
They set
Yes, to set
example
an
for them.
example, so that the people with less intelligence, they should not try to follow him and ruin their life. If they are not performing the actions, then if they follow them, then they will ruin their life. Just like we see, right? That if the movie people, they are promoting cigarettes, if they are promoting gutka and so many other things, many people take up to these bad activities. Why? Because they think that, okay, this person is someone whom we can look up to, and therefore it causes a problem. So the leaders should be doing their duty, whether they are bound up by it or not bound up by it, because they should set a good example. Okay, this is the next question. I only gave the answer. If a movie actor promotes drinking wine in movie ad, does it impel any general people to take up the activity? I only gave the answer 2 minutes back.
Yet seeing, we can be motivated.
Yes, that's what. People get motivated. This is what has been followed, right? If a very beautiful actress will come, that okay, this soap is very nice, and this will make you fragrant, and this will make you look beautiful, and this will make you look fair, then suddenly there is a rise in sale for that particular soap, right? Whether it is it's just cleaning you externally, it's not doing anything else. So why that happens is, this is how the society works, right? Therefore we need good examples. And therefore, when we were doing this section, we read what Prabhupada mentioned about leaders, right? Prabhupada mentioned that leaders should be high-class Brahmanas. They should be high-class Vaishnavas, so that because of them, the whole society would flourish then. Okay. How is Varna Shankar caused by Arjuna's not fighting the war? So first of all, I want to ask, what is Varna Shankar?
The unwanted population.
Right, unwanted population. So when we are saying, how is unwanted population caused by Arjuna's not fighting the war? Because one of the reason, if we remember, Arjun gave was destruction of family tradition, right? And yes, so when Arjun is saying that so many wives will become widows if I fight the war, and therefore it will lead to unwanted population, therefore he doesn't want to fight the war. This is Arjuna's argument, but Krishna still asks him to fight. Krishna defeats this particular argument in 3rd chapter. So what is that particular thing? How is Varna Shankar caused by Arjuna's not fighting the war? If we take it in the opposite sense. If Arjun doesn't fight the war, then how will still Varna Shankar happen?
Hare Krishna. Mataji, that other bad people will take away they do the bad things with the woman and all.
So who are the other bad people?
If
So
if
Arjun
are
is
doing
fighting
karma.
against, sorry?
Those who are against dharma.
Right, exactly. The Kauravas. When we saw that the Kauravas, when they are the kings, right? In front of the whole assembly, Draupadi has been tried to be disrobed. So if the king is doing such a abominable activity, if this person remains the king, if Arjun doesn't fight the war and this person still remains the king, then if the king is doing such activity, the same activity can be done by the subjects also, because the subject follows the king. So if the subjects are doing this wrong activity, then by default there would be unwanted population. There will be Varna Shankar. So this is how Krishna is defeating this particular argument, saying that Arjun should still fight, because if Arjun fights, Yudhishthir would become the king. And under Yudhishthir's rule, this will never ever happen. The women will always be respected. So therefore, Varna Shankar will not be caused. Okay. Next question. If a person is too attached to family life, should he be immediately given instructions on renunciation?
No,
Why?
because already he is too attached to his family. And if someone says you should not be attached to your family, then he will feel that he is distracting me in some other way. He is not giving me the right suggestion.
He won't be able to take up to that suggestion, right?
Yeah, yeah. He
Yes,
feels like this is a wrong suggestion given by the person.
exactly. An example, can someone quote an example on this from Srimad Bhagavatam?
Bharat Maharaj
How, Bharat Maharaj?
was too attached. Then again, he was bounded back with a deer.
But who gave him the instruction to not be attached to deer? No one, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, an example from Srimad Bhagavatam on this is Chitraketu Maharaj. Rohini Mataji, you have some? You wanted to
Yeah,
say
that's
something?
what Mataji.
Yes.
Chitraketu.
Yes, Chitraketu Maharaj. Why? Because when Chitraketu Maharaj was urgently wanting a son, and when Angira Muni came to him, he actually gave a lot of respects to Angira Muni. He gave him a very nice seat, very nice, what we can say, satkar was done, and he fell at the feet of him to hear from him. Externally, if we see, he took a very submissive position, but internally in his mind, he had kept this in mind that I want a son, I want a son, I want a son. So if someone will give him any instruction that you should not desire so much for a son, he would not take that instruction. Even though externally he seems to be in the right submissive attitude, but internally he was not. So similarly, the learned sages are not advised to give instructions to people who are too attached to sense gratification. But what can be done? They should be engaged based on their natural propensities in the service of Krishna, so that gradually they are able to come to that position to take this instruction, right? And this is what Prabhupada did. Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the Western world, he did not ask the people to stop everything immediately. If they are singing, they asked Prabhupada engaged their singing, singing into the Kirtan Seva, right? If they were good businessmen, like for example, George Harrison. So when George Harrison was too, like when he was very attracted by Prabhupada, he said that I want to join ashram. I want to leave all this. And Prabhupada said, no, you are in that position that you can preach through singing. So you preach through singing, you chant Hare Krishna, then you would be doing actual service. So this is how he actually he knew how to utilize the talents of people in the service of Krishna. So then by gradually we will become purified, right? From 3.26 this is okay. The spiritual bewildered by the influence of what thinks himself the doer of activities that are actually carried out by the modes of material nature.
False ego. Mataji.
Hmm? Anyone has any other suggestion? Okay. Who all are fine with false ego? Okay, Rohini Mataji. Other Sindhu Mataji. Okay. Okay.
False ego.
Yes. So false ego is the one thing that bewilders the soul, right? He thinks that I am the doer. Karta hamiti manyate. Okay, we also had some options. I only forgot. So yes, the option is B, false ego. Third, the living entity is dash with different degrees of lust. Cleansed, referred, covered, compared.
Mataji, C, covered.
Covered.
Hmm?
Covered.
What is the examples? What are the examples given by Krishna in this?
Mirror with the
Fire,
dust.
fire covered by smoke, or womb.
Mirror
Child
by
And
covered
woman,
by the
womb of the
womb in the
child.
mother child.
Yes, so these were the different degrees of covering how lust covers the living entity, right? So the right answer is covered. Which of the following is a sitting place for lust? Mind, senses, intelligence, all of the above.
All of the
Senses,
above.
mind, and
Sense,
intelligence.
Answers.
All of the above, Mataji.
all of the above.
Okay. I feel happy when I hear too many voices on the same option. Thank you. So yes, the answer is all of the above. This is also directly mentioned by Krishna. Okay, I forgot to add animation here, sorry. Which of the following destroys the urge for self-realization? Lust, body, intelligence, none of these.
Which of the following destroys the urge for self-realization?
The first one. Which of the following destroys the urge for self-realization? Lust,
Lust.
body, intelligence, none of the above.
This one.
Lust.
Lust.
Okay. All of you agree with lust, right? Yes, lust destroys the urge for self-realization. We don't want to, we are not at all interested in self-realization if we are too much into lust, right? Too much into sense gratification. Which of the following is most inferior? Senses and mind, intelligence, soul, dull matter.
Inferior is dull matter.
Dull matter, Mataji.
An example of dull matter would be?
The eyes, ears, and all which we hear.
Those
and
are
see.
senses.
Material.
Eyes, ears are senses. What is dull matter?
The object on which we are, the object that we desire.
Yes. So dull matter in the sense of any non-living thing. Let's say if my attachment is with this mobile is basically dull matter. This is most inferior. Therefore,
Non-living object.
therefore, when a person is, let's say, if someone is in depression, if someone is having some addictions, right? If they come into the contact of devotees, it becomes very easy for them to leave all those things. How? Because devotees tell them that this is the most inferior kind of attachment, right? It can easily be, you can easily go above this. So the dull matter is the most inferior. Next question, how can one control the material senses, the mind and the intelligence? By practicing of yogic postures, by merging into the supreme, by Krishna consciousness, none of the above.
By Krishna
Mataji, C,
Krishna
Krishna
consciousness.
consciousness.
Okay, whoever gives the answer, they have to quickly tell me why the other options are not right.
You see, the yogic posture will help you reach only up to the Brahman realization. You cannot go into the Paramatma realization or the God realization.
Bhagavan realization.
But will it help you to control material senses, mind and intelligence?
To some extent.
Not to the great extent, yeah.
Okay, they can help you control the material senses for sure, but controlling the mind and the intelligence is not that easy, right? The next option being by merging into the supreme.
So Brahman intelligence.
Someone was saying that it can help you reach the Brahman realization, but the second option is Brahman realization. So can Brahman realization help you control the material senses, mind and intelligence?
No, not completely.
Why so?
Because Mataji, Supreme Lord is different
Because
from us, so we will not never be merged. So their philosophy is different.
Philosophy is
again
different. See, the whole point is when it comes to when we know that I am surrendering myself to something void, there is no person. That's something void to which I am surrendering to. Automatically, our surrender goes down. We are not ready to do each. like every breath is not for the pleasure of someone, right? It is only for that something called void. Because Brahma Jyoti is what? Brahman realization is void. That's neutrality, is what they call. So they are not able to redirect their senses, their mind and intelligence to work in accordance with a particular personality. And therefore, this particular path, this particular path of spiritual life will not help you control your mind, senses and intelligence perfectly. Right? And therefore, the jivas fall down from Brahmajyoti also. We see there are many types of people who are too much, they can do a lot of austerities, like incomparable austerities. They are able to control their senses. They are able to do very, very big charities. They are they are doing a lot of charity, like almost impossible charities they are doing. So all these type of people are what? These type of jivatmas are coming from Brahmajyoti. They are because they have done so much of austerities in their previous lives, they are still able to do it. But they could not go back to Krishna. Why? Because they have not surrendered themselves to this personality. It becomes, when there is a person behind every activity, it becomes very easy. How many of you have this experience that, let's say, if you have to do an activity for yourself, let's say you have to start exercising from tomorrow. Every woman will face this problem. They want to start exercising just from tomorrow, but they won't be able to do it. But when it happens that they have to do it because there is a cause, let's say they have to do it because they want to serve their children nicely, or they because there is a particular health condition which will cause a lot of problem to her, and if she is in problem, then all her family is in problem. The only solution is exercise. So in which of these two conditions the woman would be able to do that exercise? For herself only or for others?
For others.
For others. Exactly. A man also. Why is, if you actually see a man, generally the males are designed in such a way, if you give them bread butter for 365 days, they will be happy with bread butter for 365 days, right? They don't have so much choices. The choices, the variety comes from the feminine aspect of the Lord. So this choice and variety is for the female. But the man is doing so much of hard work from morning till night only. Why? To give satisfaction to the feminine aspect of the family, right? To give comfort and facility to the family, not for himself. So every person by default is able to do much more than his own capacity for the satisfaction of other. But when it comes only for ourselves, we are not able to do. Similarly, in the bhakti path, when we are understanding that, okay, we are all coming from Krishna, this is my eternal position, and every activity I'm only doing for the pleasure of Krishna, then it is a perfect understanding, and we are also perfectly able to control our mind and senses and everything. But when we are just doing for our own liberation, this is just for my moksha, this is just for my greedy perspective of gaining self-realization, then we are not able to do it perfectly. Even if we reach 99%, if you see, Ravan was doing I guess 10,000 years of tapasya, right? So much of tapasya, Hiranyakashipu, so much of tapasya they could do. But were they doing it for the pleasure of the Lord? No, they were doing it for themselves. So anyone who is doing it for themselves, it will not last long. So therefore, this particular question's answer is only by Krishna consciousness, one can control the material senses, mind and intelligence. Right? That's all for today. I wanted to have some more questions, but I could not get the time. But I could see that all of you were answering. I hope that the third chapter was understood by all of you. If you have any questions, anything that is not clear yet, you can please bring that up in the next class. Initially, before starting fourth chapter, we can take those questions. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much for responding to all the questions. Thank you so much for eagerly participating in the quiz. And I'm really happy to serve you all. Mancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Namo Namah.
Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Jagat Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Michael.
Hare
Thank
Krishna
you.
Mata.
Hare
Mataji
Krishna
Pranam.
Mataji.
Namaste.